I used to dread converting PDFs into Excel. It just felt way too clunky and tedious and manual. Like there had to be a better way. I just didn't know what it was. Now I know that there was a better way, but for years I avoided it. I would hear whispers of this really cool feature that Excel had, but it just felt way too advanced, too technical, something reserved for those power users who create entire applications from Excel. So I told myself that's not for me. But eventually I gave this feature a shot and wow, it was a complete game changer. I'm not exaggerating. And it's actually designed for everyday users. I've taught many people how to use this feature successfully, even when they said, I couldn't do that. And that's because it's a clean, menu-driven interface. So it feels intuitive. Okay, I'll stop beating around the bush. The tool that I'm talking about is Power Query. It is hands down the most reliable way to convert from a PDF to Excel, but it's also the easiest. And this video is going to prove that to you. And hey, if you've never used Power Query before, make sure to check out my free resource, the Excel Power Up Method cheat sheet. It actually includes instructions for Power Query alongside other advanced Excel features that I use most often to save time and simplify my work in Excel. The cheat sheet is designed to be very clear and confidence boosting so you can build your skills one category at a time. You'll find the link below. Hi, I'm Rebecca and I teach Excel users how to create spreadsheets they can be proud of. Welcome to Excel Power Up. So let's get started right now. I'll be using a financial report from Starbucks because it is publicly available. You can download it in the link below. I highly encourage you to go do it now. Do it right now. Today's the day. Don't just watch me because then you won't remember it later. So let's say your boss gave you this PDF and I'm going to skip to the page I care about, which is 12. And let's say your boss said, hey, I want a pie chart of all the stores opened in 2024 and I want a pie chart organized by country. So that's our objective. Where would you even start with that? Well, the very first place that I always start with Excel projects is data organization. And the whole purpose of this video is to import data from a PDF into Excel. So let's get started with Power Query. Power Query is kind of hidden. It's in the Data tab, and it doesn't really say Power Query anywhere here, but you can access it with this button that says Get Data. And there are so many options here, but we're just going to skip to the one where it's a PDF. So we're going to say From File, and then come down to this button that says From PDF and click on that. And it's going to ask for the file. And here we go. This is the Power Query Navigator. It is examining the file and trying to figure out where is there actually data in this file. Okay, so there's data on a lot of these pages. I know that my table is on page 12. So here you can see the page number is in parentheses here. There are 3 tables that are on page 12. These 2 look like they are actually from the same table, and then this one is totally different. It's about beverages and food. So in order to import both of these tables, we have to come up here to check this box that says Select Multiple Items, and then we can select both of them and come down here to Transform Data, and then both of those tables will be available in the Power Query Editor window. So here's the Power Query Editor. You can see here the queries column has the list of all the tables. And over here, the applied steps shows what has been done to it. So it goes from the source, which is all of the tables that exist, down to actually just the one table. And then change type, it like automatically detects what the data type is, but you don't really have to know all that. Like I said before, this is a menu-driven interface, so you should not have to do any code here. Even though there's code here, just ignore that. We're just going to be clicking buttons, okay? So starting with the first table, we're going to come over here to Combine, this Combine group. It's great how everything's labeled too. It's in the Home tab. So we're going to combine these 2 tables. We have merge or append. You can kind of look at the picture and see. Merge means we're combining them side by side by a common column, like an ID column. Append is where we're stacking them on top of each other. So we're going to do that one. We're clicking append, 2 tables. See, it's a menu again. I'm just going to select the second table and click OK. And now you can see that they are all stacked together. So now we have our data here, but it's not really usable yet. So let's fix that with the next step in the Excel Power Up method, which is data cleaning. And that step is also performed in Power Query. That's one of the reasons why I love Power Query so much. You can do so many things all at once. So I'm just going to be working through to see what do I need to do to get these numbers the way I want. Well, the first thing is the columns. It doesn't know that this first row really should be the column names. So thankfully for us, there is a button here that says use first row as headers. So when I click on that, you can see that it's added a step to the applied steps called promoted headers. So that helps. Now we also have some rows that we don't need, which is like the total rows, this international row. So I'm just going to click on this filter button and then uncheck the rows that I don't want. All of these total rows. Okay. And oh, I also notice here that this column name is nothing. So let's go back to our PDF and see. Yeah, that's because there's no header here. So I'm just going to rename it. And you can do that by simply double clicking on it. So I'm going to call this country. Okay, and you can see it every time we do something, it adds something to the applied steps. One other thing that I noticed though is that these columns are being detected as character or text instead of numbers, and I think that's because of these dashes. So what we can do here is right click and go to replace values and replace each of these dashes with a 0. And yep, that took care of that. Now it looks like a number, but see, it's still detected as a text. So you can just click right on that ABC and change what the data type is. So I'm going to say whole number, and now you can see it changed the formatting, so it's like all the way over here and italicized. That's clearly a number. And I'm going to do that to all these columns that are incorrect. Okay, this is great, but how can we actually answer the boss's question? The answer is with the next step, which is data analysis. And that requires us getting all this data out of the Power Query editor and into Excel. So we're going to start with renaming this query. A query is like a question. So we're asking a question of this PDF, and the result is the table of data. So we're going to call this countries. It's not very original, but it's okay. And then we will go to the file, close, and load to. This is where you can choose where do you want to put this data. You could put it into a table, a pivot table report, pivot chart. I'm going to put it right here and just click OK. So it's just going to throw it onto this sheet. And here's the result of the query as an Excel table. And you can see the queries and connection panel over here has a little preview of the queries that we have. So this is a table now. If you go to table design, you can see the name of it. It is countries. It actually matches the name of the query, which is really helpful. If you have other formulas or things that you need to reference this table, you can use it. You can use the name of the table, which I always recommend naming all of your tables. So the next step of the Excel Power Up method is data analysis, but there's not really much to do here. All we need to do now is make the pie chart, and that is in the fourth step of the Excel Power Up method, which is data reporting. So we're going to select anywhere on this table and go to Insert, Charts over here. And I really like this recommended charts button. And because it uses some kind of smart magic to analyze the data and figure out like what kind of charts you possibly could want. But then you can also click on all charts and go there. Stores open. So that's selecting the first column. So instead, let's just select country and then net, and then go to recommended charts and all charts and see, there we go. And now that's exactly what we want. So I'm going to click on it. Yep. And there it is. So once you have the chart, there's a couple of tweaks that I always like to make. The first is in this chart design tab, there's the quick layout. And here you can just hover over each of these options until you find the one that you like the best. Okay, I like this one because I like the percentages visible, and I like having the legend out to the side. I think that looks the best here. And the other thing is you can look at some of these chart styles and see, oh, that's a nice one actually. Okay. Okay, actually this one is my favorite. And then the next thing you can do is go to, if there's specific things that you notice that you want like different, you can go to this chart elements, and when you, I'm not clicking anything, look, I'm just hovering. Okay, you can just hover over all of these options as a quick way to see what it would look like if you changed those. Ooh, I actually like the data callout. And then this is more options, even more options for, oh, actually, that one caught my eye, for style. And you can also change the colors. Ooh, that looks nice. So those are the design things that I always check. I always just spend a little bit of time playing around with all these different options for layout. I don't like to obsess over it. Just kind of preview, just go and see if there's any of those that actually catch your eye. One last thing related to colors is that I always prefer going to page layout and choosing a theme. I have my own theme called Excel Power Up Method, but you can choose any of these different ones or create your own. And that just lets everything look different. You know, people can spot Calibri or the new Excel font Aptos, whatever. And those colors, they can spot that from a mile away, and it looks kind of lazy, in my opinion, if you just use the standard colors and fonts. So even just this, just changing the themes so that I'm using a different color scheme and a different font, it just immediately elevates your charts. So this is all great, but what if you have to run the same exact report and get the same exact pie chart, let's say every month? The great thing about Power Query, and the thing that makes it really a rock star in Excel, is that all of this is repeatable. What we've created here with our query is repeated steps. You saw that applied steps button, and you can go in here and edit the applied steps anytime you need to, but you can also refresh the query. So if you had a PDF and you had a new one that was generating each month, you could just refresh the query, and I'll show you how to do that in a second, and it would apply all of these steps to the new PDF, and then it would dump out all the new numbers. And the way you refresh it is with this button here. It's in the query tab. You just click refresh, or you could right click on the table and there's a refresh button right here. So that's what makes Power Query so awesome, is because it's repeatable. And that kind of ties into the last step of the Excel Power Up method, which is user features. So when I have a query, I always write a little note up here. If someone else is going to be using my spreadsheet, I would write something like right click on the table and select refresh to update the data. I usually do that, something, and I make it italics, just so it's like a little instructions to make this even more user-friendly. That's it. You're now a master of converting a PDF to Excel. Thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments if you created your first query today. If you want a clear roadmap for building better spreadsheets, grab the free Excel Power Up Method cheat sheet. And if you're ready to go deeper, check out my online course in the description below.